Guys, M.V.K here, coming to you again. How's everybody doing out there? Back again for my recap slash review for starting with Green Lantern, the animated series. Um, as always, still bittersweet to watch this show and not just continue to recollect on the future of this show. But as always, I continue to watch it because I enjoy the show. And this episode picks up right after that bombshell episode we had last week. Um, it kind of felt like a filler, but it was just a fun filler in a sense. So basically, what happens is, so let me give you a little synopsis of the episode. The episode kicks off right where the last episode, Aya, when she shot Hal and them off. They are still floating through space. Their ship is pretty much out of fuel, out of energy. And, looks like pretty much everything's still copacetic in them where they can still, no oxygen depletion is, leaking out of the ship or anything like that. But, however, they're like, Hal's like, oh, all we got to do is wait for the batteries to recharge and kick in and then we'll be on our way. However, they get pulled in by a gravitational field of a nearby planet, and they're falling. However, Razor pretty much connects his battery, his lantern, to the main battery of the ship and charges it. But however, and the ship has just enough power to make a pretty decent landing on the planet. They land on this planet. Looks like a very desert-like planet. And, Hal is just like, well, we could just stay here for a while, even though the front mirrors are shattered. But we find out by Razor that the planet's oxygen, it has no oxygen. It's running on, I'm forgetting what kind of fuel, gas. So pretty much it's toxic to all of them. However, they find a nearby city out there and they pretty much fly to it. Now, let alone, guys, their batteries, their power needs to be charged as well. Hal and Kilowog are working on like 5%, and same Razor is about that same amount as well. And they decide to go fly, to the city. However, they don't have enough juice to fly, so they have to run. They run to the city. Now remember, they put up their aura shields to keep from dying from no lack of oxygen. But other than that, they move on to this planet and they move on to the city. And fortunately, Hal comes out and informs the inhabitants who he is and everything like, and they just flip out and start shooting at him. They're like, Green Lanterns, fire! And they just start firing at him. And so, technically, the inhabitants of this planet don't like Green Lanterns. But the team needs to get inside this city, this dome city, or they're going to die. So, and unfortunately, by the time their power runs out, Hal and Kilowog's power runs out, they're back to their normal selves in a sense. And what also is the essence of this episode is Kilowog is now speaking in his native tongue, and Hal can't understand it. That's why the episode is called Babel. As you all know, their ring translates alien races so everybody can understand each other. And Kilowog can't understand Hal. Hal can't understand Kilowog. But it's kind of like difficult for them to talk, but they kind of know their set path. They need to get on top of these like truck-like thing and to get inside the city. They do it. They get in, and then all heck, they trying to stay low, keep covered up, keep deep cover. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out like that. They have to run from these like little like gnome-like aliens that seem to always shoot first and ask questions later. And then all of a sudden, Razor's powers shut down. So he goes back to his normal self, and he can't understand. He's speaking in his native tongue. So the trio now are really like, okay, what did you say? Beg your pardon? What did you say? So it's kind of hard to deal with. They got to really use, I guess, sign language and everything like that. And they're just running from these things until one of them is like, Namhekaga, Namhekaga, Naga, and Hal is like, I think he's calling this over. And basically, it seems like this little guy wants to help them, like, stay on cover. He'll give him a ride and some trade. So Hal pulls out everything he has: a stick of gum, a phone, keys, and everything like that. Kilowog pulls out some bugs, grubs, and the guy is like, he's just really getting mad. He's like, "Rrr." And then Razor, he starts pulling out knives, blades, and like these shuriken things, and the creature's like really still like, no. And then he sees Hal's phone, and he's like, oh, the phone? You can have it. It's yours. I'm about due for a new one anyway. Starts laughing, and then he's like, okay, let's get on the ship. And then the little alien's like, Naga, Maga Taga, Naga, and he starts pointing at the phone, and then he's like, this is what I want. And it's a picture of Carol Ferris, and he's like, you want Carol? I seriously doubt that. And so Kilowog just smacks this guy and knocks him out, and then the rest of the group that were chasing them comes after them. So they get in the ship, and once again, the lack of speech, has Hal and Razor fighting over who's going to drive the ship and things like that. Unfortunately, they do get caught, and they get put in like this gladiator-like ring, and pretty much there we're seeing these gladiator-like creatures, the little inhabitants being killed by this giant alien, and they're sticking Hal in them with like these taser-like lances, and bam, they have to go out and fight this thing. And unfortunately, at first it looks like it's do or die for the team. They don't know if they can handle this giant monster, and Hal gives this kind of heroic speech like, we're made up of the rings. The rings doesn't make us. What's important is our brains and our heart. And so it looks like the rest of the Razor and Kilowog understand that. Like, okay, so they work together and try to tackle this thing. And because also Hal realizes that he's like, I've been hit so hard, I'm hearing manhunters. And on top of like the belt of this monster, like there's a manhunter attached to it. And they realize if they can get to that manhunter, they can recharge the ring. And unfortunately, however, the team does. Hal does get to the manhunter head. He recharges the ring just before the monster's about to eat him. And as soon as he says the final last quotes, he blasts out of the monster's mouth. He makes a construct of his famous bat, cracks it, throws the head to Kilowog. Kilowog is saying the oath in his native tongue, but he gets it on and he gives it to Razor, and Razor's like, stupid, I have a red ring, that won't work. But still, Razor's able to deliver the last blow with by knocking the creature down. And unfortunately, since the translators are back on, the little aliens are like, what did you do to Mama? So it's like, okay, we got to get out of here. And it realizes that Razor, his battery recharged on his own, and is back to normal, so they were able to get off the planet. Like I said, this was a very fun episode, but it kind of felt like a filler, but it did kind of construct of what happened right after what Aya did, and it was fun, guys. I did enjoy the episode, and I just wish the show wasn't ending. You'll probably hear me say that for the majority of the last recap / reviews of this. I really enjoyed it. There were parts that made me laugh, especially the last part where Hal was like, so I guess my heroic speech got us all together, and then they were like, oh yeah, it was good. And then Razor and Kilowog were like, did you understand what he said? Not a word. I thought that was so funny. I laughed at that. But other than that, it was good, guys. So anyway, guys, you tell me what you thought about this episode called Babel. And other than that, this is Mother and Kid, and on to the next.